Hey guys, Tim here from Boogie Snail Mastering. Hope you're having a very great day. And today I'll be covering some fundamental tools and basic techniques how to master deep house. But before we start, please remember, if you have a mix that you need mastered, request a quote at BSMastering.com and receive 50% of your first order. And now let's get started. If you are not already familiar with house music, it's likely that you've heard it before without knowing. Four on the floor kick, drums, swinging hi-hats, gospel cut vocal samples, bouncy chord progressions and funk-infected bass lines are all integral to the unique identity of the genre. Stemming from disco, house music has evolved into many genres and subgenres of electronic music. It's even influenced pop music, hip-hop and other modern music styles. To this day, the cultural impact of house music continues to inspire new generations of fans, music, technology, and innovations. Today I have this stylish and punchy deep house track with EDM synth, vocal chops, muted guitars, bass, piano, and groovy beats. And deep house music is an electronic music genre derived from Chicago house music. Deep house tracks combine the pulsing four on the floor signature bit of traditional house music with harmonies and bass lines inspired by jazz and funk. Compared to standard house music, deep house is also more likely to feature vocals. So, and first let's have a listen to a part of this track before and then after mastering. Next, I will show you guys my mastering chain, and it is completely in the box. And I will cover some techniques you may apply to master your own house music. And for fair comparison, I carry out level matched for original and processed versions. Well, I always go for cutting before boosting. So, and using this smart orange EQ, I cut out the very low frequency up to 25 hertz out of the midsection. And I also cut the low end up to 110 hertz on the side. Then I cut some things out in the 180 and 500-ish region in the midsection. And a lot of times that 500 hertz region causes boxiness, and it causes a song to lose punch if there's too much activity going on there. So I find that cutting that 500 hertz frequency gives the song a bit more punch. It is in fact a kind of a ringing frequency. It sounds really annoying and it hurts my ears. So there's another ringing frequency. They're at around 1.6 K. It's a kind of ringing in the percussion area. It's a bit kind of a boxy and nasal sound. Therefore, I cut it just a bit in the stereo portion. So this way, I actually improved the quality of the sound quite a bit. And now there's a lot more punch in the song. And I clear out the bass frequencies in the sides and left the space empty for the kick drum machine and for the bass line as well. So and now let's have a listen to this track with this matte orange EQ on. So next, using a matte blue EQ, so I add some warmth and boost at 160 hertz in the mid portion. It really gives the song a bit more power, more warmth, and more punch. It brings out the punch of the kick drum as well as the growl of the bass line. I find that there's a dip around 800 to 1K hertz. Therefore, I boost a little bit this region in the stereo portion. So it brings out the piano a little bit more as well as the synth lines. So it gives a bit more warmth in that mid frequency region. So next I give the high end just a tiny bit of air. I boost the high frequencies in the stereo. It brings the percussion out of a bit more and gives the kick a bit more attack. So I boost just 0.7 dB at around 8K hertz in a shelf. So and then on the side I boost 6.8K to give a nice presence to the synth. Now the synth come through a bit more and there's more presence because of this high-end boost. So now let's have a listen to this track again with this matte blue EQ on. So the next thing I do for this house track is take care of the issue of compression. In this track, I apply three different kinds of compression. First, I use some glue compression. Next, I apply multiband compression on the low mids to take care of that synth that's poking out. And finally, I use some parallel compression for power and punch. It is my secret weapon for this genre. In all these cases, I do not use any drastic compression because it was done during mastering, during mixing stage. So, and first, I use this Vertigo VCS3 as a glue compressor. So I set the slowest attack time 40 milliseconds, and I set quite a fast release time, 100 milliseconds. I set 2-to-1 ratio, and then I pull the threshold down until I hear things come together. So when I pull the threshold down, it brings the kick drum closer to the bass line. And what that does is that it gives the song more presence, because everything is more up front, because all the peaks are closer together now. And because of the slow attack time and the fast release time and the low ratio, I do not crush these peaks. I just bring everything closer together. And now let's have a listen to this track with this glue compressor on. So next, I take care of low-mid frequency, which is poking out in the low-mid area. It's a synth that's poking out a bit too much. It's between 300 to 600-ish hertz region. Therefore, this area needs a tiny bit of compression. So, and for this task, I use this TC electronic multiband compressor. So I use just one band and set a crossover between 315 to 630 hertz region to precisely target this mid frequency. So I set 100 milliseconds attack and release time and ratio 2-to-1. And this targeted compression makes the low mids more focused and more clear and present rather than too dynamic and all over the place. In this genre, I always control these low and low-mid regions pretty carefully. And now let's have a listen to this track with this multiband compressor on. Well, distortion in the form of harmonic generation is often applied to a house master to make the master sound full and more forward in terms of depth. Harmonic distortion makes a master sound more complex and sonically pleasing and can establish impact during dynamic transitions. So for harmonic enhancement, I use my beloved Aroma Harmonic processor from Ploytech. And as you see on the screen, I add some sugar, and it adds a bigness, and it helps the lower mid to glue. And I also add some pepper. It adds a sense of mid-range bite. And I add some sugar and pepper to the side, this one, and it creates a sense of fatness and enhances the low mid on the side without sounding equalized, with a more natural and cohesive feel. So, and this mid side mood gives a nice stereo width for the whole track. So, and now let's have a listen to this track with this aroma on. So next, I apply parallel compression on the entire track. It's a secret weapon of many famous mastering engineers, and they use it for power and punch in this genre, and it really works. This time I use very extreme settings, so I use a ratio of 10:1. So I use a really short attack time, and then I set the release time to get that kind of a pumping effect. So I just want to crush those peaks to death. So, and next I utilize this dry wet button to control how much of the ultra compressed signal to blend into the song, and it is quite a gentle blend, just 6%. So, and now let's have a listen to this track with this parallel compressor on. So finally, I use a limiter to drive everything and make everything loud and bring the sound up to a commercial level. Now at this point I have taken care of all the EQing, the balancing, the compressing. I've taken care of peaks. I've glued the sound together. So, and I've given a flavor, and I've given it that extra something with the parallel compressor as well. And now I use a limiter to just bring all the levels up. So in general, such deep house is extremely loud music. Usually I aim to achieve around minus 9 LUFS, so it is around the commercial level. So in this case I push the limiter enough to get the loudness that I want. At the same time I preserve the power in the track, and I do not completely crush the life out of the track. So, but since this tutorial is for YouTube, so I aim to achieve something around minus 12. So, and for this task, I use DMG Limitless, and you may see my settings on the screen. So, and now let's A/B this track, A/B original and master track. So one of the main aims at mastering house music is to make sure it translates as best as possible on a large sound systems like a club or a fest, or and yet retain its quality, punch and energy on the radio, in the car, or any other system which it may be played. So hopefully something in this video will help you to master your own tracks in this genre. So that's about it for this topic. So if you like my videos, please subscribe to support my channel. Have a very nice and great day, and see you next time.